Hey, I guess I could introduce myself. My name is Charlicia. This is the eve of my 32nd birthday. And honestly, I'm just screaming out into the void, making a YouTube video, doing some real reflections about where I've been and where I'm going, drawing conclusions and possibly making a plan to change the trajectory of my life. And hopefully while I'm doing this, somebody can see something in me that might help change, but I don't know. This is kind of like a video diary. I see a lot of people making these videos, and I honestly almost fell into a trap of like looking at all of the negativity in my life and just like sulking about it. And I'm not here to gaslight nobody. Life is tough. Life is tough for me right this instant. It's hard. But I really, really don't want to dwell on that. But I kind of want to look past that, like push past everything that's happening at the surface level because it's not a culmination of who I am. Year 32 for me, born in 1994, also feels like a very pivotal year for some reason. And honestly, at the beginning of this year, I said, this is going to be the year that I finally do it. This is going to be the year that I finally get out of my mother's house and I make my dreams come true. And we're going to make that happen. And ever since January, I have been putting in job applications and getting rejected for every single one and ghosted. However, I love as a fantasy reader, as you can see some of my books in the back, I love a good 11th hour turnaround situation. So I don't care about any of that. And ever since like maybe 3 or 4 years ago, where we all were like majorly exposed to platforms like TikTok, they gave us so much access to a lot of different people. It gave me the tools to sit down with my life and kind of evaluate the root causes of my issues and put in a solid plan to make changes. If there is an encyclopedia and you see the phrase healing is not linear, growth is not linear, you're going to see a picture of my face right there. Even though things have not been progressing in a linear fashion, they have been progressing and growth has absolutely been happening. But this is a year, even like for 31, things are confusing because when you start to break down structures, you have to restructure the foundation. And it's hard because you were already running on a certain foundation. You're just looking at a slab of concrete. And now you have to go down there and put those 2x4s and dig all this stuff that you got to do to build another foundation. And it's difficult. So here are a couple of reflections that I made. I graduated college in 2016. I honestly stayed on campus for the majority of my college experience. But for the last year, I had to stay with my mother because I ran out of student loan funding, right? And I just told my mom, I just need to stay here for a year. By the time I graduate, I'll be able to get a job and get out on my own. Back then, I was studying French. So the likelihood of me going overseas to be able to teach for a little while abroad, that was really, really high. But it's like I blinked 1 minute and 10 years passed quicker than I can even imagine. One of the biggest lessons that I have learned over the course of these past 10 years is that it is okay to depend on other people in your time of need, but do not let it get to the point where you're placing yourself in a position to sacrifice, to trade in your autonomy for safety. Because lack of autonomy is not really safe. Not in the long run, I promise you. Now, I'm not finna sit up here and trash myself because I do have like a tumultuous background and I've been through some stuff. Like for real, I'm not gonna sit up here and berate myself. That's something I refuse to do. But I am woman enough to say that a lot of the reasons that I did remain stagnant and prohibited myself from like real proper growth and opportunity is because of my lack of decision. So my indecisiveness. The past 6 months has been the only time over the course of the past 10 years where I have not had like a stable source of income. So I've been living here the entire time, but I've always brought in money for myself, even though it was not a lot. So I graduated with my bachelor's and then started working for a little while to decide what I wanted to do for my master's, right? Was not making enough money with it, like literally $600 every 2 weeks. This was back in 2016, 2017. $600 every 2 weeks. Now, where I stay, the rent it was pretty cheap back then, so I could get like a reasonable apartment for $600 a month back then. $600, $700 a month back then. But you have to choose between rent and a car. I didn't have a car. I didn't have a car or a house. And the only way I'm gonna be able to get to work is with a car. So I had to choose a car and I still live with my mom. The car note, even then, I bought a brand new car, which I wish I didn't do, but it is neither here nor there. It was $300, $320, and then I had to pay close to $200 for insurance, and then the rest of the money was just for survival. So I was just working, 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 trying the best that I could. Then I decided that I wanted to do nursing, so I went back to school to take a couple of prerequisites. I failed all of the important prerequisites, which is like biology. I kept failing biology. I failed like 3 times. Um, then I kind of decided, I was like, okay, maybe I'll approach it at a different angle. I'm gonna try to go ahead and get my master's degree, and then I will go back and take my prerequisites at a later date. But this should show the schools that I'm serious about learning, and I have the capacity to learn because I've done so on a master's level. I did that. I got my master's in anthropology, but that master's in anthropology shook me, shook my core. Why? So I learned about America's history and just all of the corruption. And everything that I had previously engaged with and I thought that I knew, it was now in question, including my religion, right? I remember going back and forth, crying, and just trying to make sense of everything that had been told to me, but just not being able to. And I did eventually end up deconstructing my religion as a Christian and decided that I no longer wanted to be a part of the religion. It's kind of like you can detach yourself from it, but it's pretty hard to break those, bonds and relationships. And that's something that I'm still struggling with this day. Like, I have not left the church. And it also led me to the decision that I didn't really think that I wanted to become a nurse. And I don't know if that was because of self doubt or anything like that. I had so many instances of self doubt when I was coming up. Even after I left high school, I wanted to go to a college out of state, but I just could not get myself to do it. So I self sabotaged and waited to the last minute. And I ended up going to a local college. And then after I graduated, I was working at my job at the daycare, got an opportunity to teach in France, decided that no, I'm kind of switching and I want to go on my own and become like a childbirth educator, so an entrepreneur and stuff like that. I self sabotaged and shifted. I have done that several times throughout the course of my life, and I'm trying to figure out what's wrong. Honestly, now looking at all of this stuff and reflecting, I have already had suspicions that I have ADHD. Like, it's pretty hard to ignore these days as I continue to get older. But now, really going back and reflecting, honestly, it's starting to line up. Because after I finished my master's in anthropology, I started a small business on TikTok. I saw everybody else with their small businesses on TikTok and they were making a little extra coin on the side. And I was like, I'm really passionate about reusable period products, and these people are doing it. They're making a lot of money, $100,000 a year. Why can't I do that? So I taught myself how to sew on a couple of machines in like a year and a half, and then I got my Etsy business off the ground. Then that Etsy business transferred to a Shopify business, and before you know it, like, my products had gone viral. But it was so exhausting, having people talk crazy to you on the internet, having to respond to everybody's emails, having to answer questions all the time, having to make the product yourself, ship the product yourself. It was really exhausting, and I could not really outsource any of the tasks because I couldn't really afford to. It was just me. The products on their own were really expensive, and it eventually got it to a point where I kind of self-sabotaged that as well. I got to a real point of transition in my life where I went to North Carolina looking to actually move, and after I came back from the trip, I could not make my body post consistently on social media. I really, really wanted to, but I couldn't make myself do it. And that was the first step of like sabotage. And I really, this reflectionary period is really making me like ask myself, like, what is it that when we get to a big transitional moment in our lives, why do we always have that strong moment of resistance? Like, what's going on? Honestly, I think that it's just like a lack of self-belief. I told y'all earlier that I had like a really rough upbringing. I really did. And a lot of people, if you would look at me, they'll say, oh, Charlicia has been very sheltered and protected. Yeah, but you should not discount how people can be impacted secondhand. You feel me? I've been through a lot. I've seen a lot. So maybe I have been struggling with a subconscious desire for like real safety, because fear has been something that has been so prevalent in my life. not just because of like religion and people telling you, oh, you going to hell and stuff like that. No, because I have seen some things. It also did not help that from the years of 2018 to like 2024, 2025, there were people in my family who were dying every year, year after year after year. And on one hand, that does give you the motivation sometimes because you know on a deep personal level that life is so precious and you don't have time to waste. If it's something that you want to do, you need to go do it. But on the other hand, it's just me. It's just me. I was talking about foundations before. I want to do something new and it's really scary sometimes. I don't have a lot of people who have done it before me. If it's going to get done, it's going to be me. So I really don't know what I'm doing. It's tough. I don't really know anybody who moved out of state successfully and was able to be okay. I don't have nobody to give me guidance like that. And it feels unfair to kind of be putting all of this stress on my mom because she's had her own personal battles too. She's had to whatever I've been through, she's been through it probably double. So where am I going? Where am I going? Told y'all where I've been. I've given y'all a splotchy explanation of where I have been, the reasons why I think that I'm still here because of fear and indecision and inconsistency and possibly ADHD. So now that I'm here, I'm 32 years old. Where do we go now? First things first, when I get some money, we're going to sit in that lady's chair, okay? Because if I do have ADHD, I definitely need some help, some guidance to help me navigate the world or help me with some medication or help me to fully establish some tools that are going to allow me to be successful because it is so exhausting having to start and stop and start and stop and start. So we will be getting in the lady's chair because I got a lot of stuff to unpack, okay? And then we're going to acknowledge and appreciate all of the knowledge that we have learned in the past. So over the past 6 years, the person that I have changed into, like if y'all saw the shift between who I was and who I am now is violent. I'm serious. I used to be a girl who just the only thing I wanted to do was get married, have kids, and make content like be like one of those YouTube moms with like 10, 11 kids. Now I I express gratitude every single day that for the only man that I've been with, I never got pregnant by him. And I never got pregnant. Like I express gratitude for that every single day because it could have been me. That's exactly what I wanted. I was headed down that path. But as I grow older and I learn more about myself, I realize I don't want to be a mom. And if I had gone down that road, I could have been at risk for creating like some of the same cycles that I'm trying so hard to break free from. So I'm grateful for that. I'm also at a point to whereas I am solidifying a healthier lifestyle for myself. In 2023, I had a crazy health scare. I think I had a thyroid storm and I was sick for a little while. I lost a whole month of April 2023 because I was taking hydroxyzine for anxiety because that's what they thought it was at the time. And that hydroxyzine was knocking me clean out. I lost a whole month of April. I don't know. I can't tell you what happened. But I went to the doctor and we realized that I had undiagnosed hyperthyroidism. I don't know why it's called undiagnosed, but that's what the endocrinologist says. I also have issues with my liver. I don't drink, but you can have fatty liver from the things that you eat. So I have been on a journey to reverse my health issues because I am right on the edge of the cusp of developing an autoimmune disease, but there are things that I can change and I can fix that. One thing is to make sure I exercise. It's a lot of things in my life that I cannot control right now, but I can get my tail up and I can go walk a couple of laps around the library parking lot because that's where we walk at right now. I can control what I put in my mouth. And I have been doing a great job at that, y'all. I used to drink my calories. I used to go to Starbucks every single day. I don't even go to Starbucks no more. I don't even go to Dunkin' no more. If I want coffee, I make my own coffee at home. And yeah, it's a little sweet, but it's not 65 grams of sugar sweet. I've been making some substantial changes. I've been staying out of those restaurants. The more you learn about the fat and the calories and the carbs that they're allowed to put in these foods, the more you learn that and then society will turn around and blame you and call you lazy and talking about, oh, you never really cared about yourself. That's just not the case. Like, I think it's wrong to blame a person for going to get a meal from McDonald's, but turn around and not blame the company for putting 3,000 calories in that meal. But nevertheless, I have been staying out of those restaurants. The things that I'm gonna have to conquer next is eating less processed foods, um, and getting in more fiber and protein. Protein, having access to protein was the reason why I was able to lose nearly 60 pounds. So protein is the key, and fiber. You need fiber. That's gonna keep you healthy, gonna keep your blood sugars low. But I'm very happy that I no longer have like the urge to just always eat out all the time. Like I would rather cook at home because I don't want to go out. I used to go to Wingstop every Thursday. When I learned that they had 2,000 milligrams of salt in that chicken sandwich, I was like, you know what? I don't, absolutely not. I'm starting to learn how to care about myself in a different way. And I honestly love that for me, okay? And even though I'm not employed right now. I am in debt. I'm like $10,000 in debt. I'm not gonna lie to you. Personal debt and business debt that rolled over. And once I get a job, it's not gonna be hard for me to pay that off, mainly because I'm living off of very little money right now. So once I start getting paid, I'm still in the mode of not really making that much money. So that money is gonna go directly to my debt. Honestly, 3 or 4 months and all that debt should be gone. I am going to get serious about starting the process to move to another city. I would like to move to the DMV area just because I want the experience of living life as a black woman in a northern state. I've been living in the South all my life. And while I do love the South, I truly do. But I do think it's ready for a change of scenery. I would like to march at the beat of my own drum. I would like to experience life where the only person at the center of my own reality is me. You know what I'm saying? And not even in a selfish way. I have grown so much to whereas I'm not going to be impulsively selfish. But sometimes it is okay to center yourself around above other people. And honestly, not just okay, it's the healthy thing to do. And that's going to be my next steps. The biggest thing is getting hired, honestly. But I do know that once I get to wherever I'm going, my entire financial priorities will be completely redefined. Something that this period of unemployment has taught me is that I don't really need as much as I thought that I needed to live. It is possible to live on very little, even while you are managing to build up a savings. That's going to be my main priority, in addition to rent, food, maybe a couple lifestyle activities and stuff like that. Everything that I have to pay, the majority of my income is going to be to get at least a 5 figure savings. Because if something does happen, I never want to see myself in the position to whereas I can't live life accordingly. $15 is a lot for me to come by some months for my gym membership. And I'm not saying this for pity. This is real life. This is real life, but I'm okay. I promise y'all I'm okay. But I do know that this is pivotal, and this is a situation that it has been hard for me to maintain a sense of like self-care and self-love, and I've still done it. I still done it, and I don't know, man. I've been through a lot, and sometimes the weight of everything can get too heavy. And I know the things that we go through in life can crumble. The things that we build, spent years building, they can crumble so fast. But I also believe that they can be built up just as fast. So I am going through it right now. But I'm not really intimidated. I've been through a lot. It's gonna take a little bit more than this to keep me down. If you stayed for all of this, you the real MVP, okay? Thank y'all so much for watching this video. If you felt any type of connection, definitely let me know in the comment section. Try to find at least something that you love to do. The things that have been keeping me afloat has been reading books all the time. Like I read a lot. So yeah, find something that's gonna keep you afloat. And even if you have to keep picking yourself back up and starting all over again, don't you worry, because once you finally get up, you're gonna be up and you're gonna be stuck, okay? Thank y'all so much for watching this video. I turn 32 years old tomorrow, and I am so optimistic for what the future is going to look like for me. Bye.